Hello, eighth period, seventh period pre-algebra. Here is a sub video, and this will count very much as a review video for the weekend for you. Uh, I'm just going to get right into it. Expect you to have your notes out and, paying attention and all to be as studious as Logan, because I know she's ready to go and doing her best and on her best behavior. Remember, if I get a note from the sub about bad behavior, I will be consequencing you. All right, this first one here. I've got a 5 minus 3x equals 17. I'll bet you Jamari can tell me that my first step is to subtract 5 because he knows that we have a plus 5 there. That's attached by addition. The 3 is attached by multiplication. And so Saddam tells me to undo the addition before I undo the multiplication. So when I do that, I get negative 3x equals 12. And I'll bet Chastity can tell me what to do next. She's going to say, let's divide by negative 3 on both sides. And then, of course, x is going to equal negative 4. And there we go. All right, let's move on to example number 2. Please write it down. 3x minus 7 equals 12. And Damien, I'll bet Damien knows the first step. He's going to say add 7 to both sides. I know most of you are very good at a straightforward problem like this. We'll get 3x equals 19. And let me see, who would know that? I'll bet you Chris knows. We're going to divide each side by 3. Now, Mr. Buhner's pretty sharp. I'll bet you he can tell me that 3 goes into 19 6 times. And he also knows that 3 times 6 is 18. That's 1 short of 19. So his mixed number is going to be 6 and 1/3. And there you go. Man, you guys are so smart. Good work. All right, number three. I'll bet Paige can say, hey, let's subtract 5 from both sides. And she'd be absolutely correct. And we're going to get x over negative 2, and that's going to equal 3. Well, let's see, who can handle this one for me? Let me think. It's been so long since I've seen you guys in the 8th period or in 7th period in our classroom. It's hard for me to think, but I'll bet you Alexis knows that this 2, negative 2, is attached to x by division, so therefore we're going to multiply both sides by negative 2. And of course I use the fraction on the left-hand side because I want those negative 2's to cancel. X is going to equal negative 6. Way to go, Alexis. Nice work. Okay, let's take a look at example number 4, and I'll bet Mr. Alexa knows the first step here is to subtract 6 from both sides. And he is absolutely correct. We've got a negative x over 3. Blake's going to warn him, don't lose that negative. See that negative? He's got to calm down with the equation. All right, and we're going to get 10 minus 6 is 4. And then we're going to multiply both sides by negative 3. Some of you are going to go, Mr. Lawrence, isn't the 3 positive? Well, yes and no. It's all in how I think of it. The fraction is negative, right? If I want to, I can move that negative down to the 3. I could put a plus and then a negative there. And it's the same fraction. And if I do that, then these cancel, leaving me an x. And then the right-hand side turns into a negative 12. Okay, let's see here. I'm going kind of quick through these. You know, if the sub needs to pause these at any time, please go right ahead and do that. All right, number 5. Let's see, I've got an inequality this time. So after I solve it, I'm going to graph it on a number line. I'm going to subtract 6 first, leaving me with a negative 2x greater than 14. And then I've got to multiply both sides by negative 2. And Mr. Woke, I know you're thinking, whoop, 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 whoop. When we do that, oh, silly me, I'm multiplying. I shouldn't be multiplying by a negative 2. I should be dividing by a negative 2. But Mr. Woke, you go ahead and whoop, whoop anyway, because it's still the same case. Negative 2's cancel. 14 divided by negative 2 is negative 7. The inequality changes direction. My number line, I must show negative 7 on the number line. Remember, negative 6 is to the right of negative 7. It goes in the opposite direction when you're on the negative side. It's an open circle because there's no equals. And I want numbers less than negative 7, and they would be to the left. And there you go. All right, let's take a look at this one. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. And I'm going to get x over 3 greater than or equal to 5. And then I'm going to multiply both sides by 3 over 1, and this side by plain old 3 because they're the same thing. My 3's are going to cancel. Mr. Saeed, I'll bet you can tell us why this inequality didn't flip this time, right? It's because we didn't multiply by a negative. Very good, Michael. Nice job. And so to the number line, I'm going to show 15 on my number line. 14 will be right before it. 16 will be right after it. It's going to be a closed point, and I need numbers greater than 15. Remember with some of you the other day I was doing this. Feel free to fill in a number that makes that true, like say 20. And 20 would be in this direction, so I'll shade to the right. Okay, we need to pull out the big guns for these problems. Erica, I'll bet you know how to start this problem. I'll bet you're going to say 8 less than twice a number. I'll bet you're going to start with the number, and then know we need twice that number. And then I'll also bet, Erica, that you know 8 less means to subtract 8 is 32 equals 32. And now that you see this, this is a real simple problem. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. I'm going to get 2n is going to equal 40. Divide by 2, divide by 2, n is going to equal 20. 20 is the number. Nice job, Erica. All right. Last example here. This is for Mr. Menaki. And 2 less than the quotient of a number and 3. Well, I know Mr. Menaki knows quotient means to divide. What are we going to divide? A number, n, and 3. So we're going to have n over 3. He knows that 2 less means to take away 2 from that is at least 6. I'm going to put a 6 in, so that means it could be 6, 7, 8. So this number here could be 6, could be 7, could be 8. Looks like it's going to be a greater than or equal to. Yeah, some of you are going to want to go less than or equal to, but then you're getting numbers that are at most 6. At least is going to be a greater than or equal to. All right, so to solve this, we're going to add 2 to both sides. We're going to get n over 3 greater than or equal to 8. And then Trevor knows that we're going to multiply both sides by 3 to get the n alone. So n is going to be greater than or equal to 24. On a number line, there we go. I'm going to show 24 on the number line, 25 on the number line. I'll show 23. I'm going to have a closed point, and I need a number greater than or equal to 24. Well, 25 fits the bill. I will shade towards 25. So all the numbers from 24 and up make this a true statement. All right, here's what's going to happen. I want you to work with the person sitting next to you. Okay, if you guys are misbehaving or loud or disrespectful, or if you've already been disrespectful, I absolutely want the sub to write your name down on the list. I will discipline you when I get back. It'll probably be 2 detentions because you guys know better by this point of the year. If you've been a chronic offender, then it'll turn it over to Mrs. Armentrout. Also, if you're on a sports team, you know, I could talk to the coach, have you run a little extra laps or something like that, or line sprints. If you get unruly, the sub will not let you work together. You need to do as much of the homework sheet as possible during class and finish it for homework. All right, Mr. Lawrence signing off. Good night, everybody.